What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis.
Scoop.
Vince Ingenito is here. And Sam Claiborne.
I've been here all weekend.
Yeah.
You didn't leave.
We've got a great show for you this week. We're going to talk about Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch, and then we're going to wrap it up with some Nintendo Switch. But first,
Is it Nintendo?
now that the dust has settled, you had a long weekend to think about what the Nintendo Switch is, what it can do, how is it sitting with us?
I pre-ordered 3. That's not a joke.
Yeah.
Why 3? You really only need 1.
I wanted to really make sure I got
You need a
it.
backup copy, and then you need one for the spare
I
bedroom.
don't trust pre-orders. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
like,
I
as soon
see,
as
I see, I
Amazon
see.
came up, I did another one. Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon.
Yeah, I pre-ordered mine as well, and I feel like I got a confirmation from Amazon. Best Buy is the one to not trust, actually.
They already charged me.
It seems shady.
Yeah,
It seems shady.
Best Buy is the one that left. They left their pre-orders up for like hours, like
Yeah.
2 hours,
was-
and I'm like, oh man.
And it was up. It was available to
Something's
pre-order
gonna happen.
before they listed the release date.
But they're the
So
only
that
one that had
kinda-
the colors.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
but,
that is-
But then didn't Amazon do the switcheroo where they were like an hour later, like, hey, sorry, your pre-order status has changed to be coming in December 30th.
I don't think Amazon did that.
2017.
Didn't happen to me. But.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought that Amazon was the one that did that.
Anyway, I think we are all ready
Sam,
to buy one. when
Sam
it came out.
pre-ordered. Justin pre-ordered.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered. Vince, did you pre-order?
I have not pre-ordered, but that's more of a funds thing than it is a not
But you have
interested
2
thing.
Atari Lynx systems.
Yes, I do have 2
So
Atari
you're
Lynx.
set.
You can
I
get
have-
some
I have 2
trade-in
Lynx
value. You're sitting on trade-in value for that Atari Lynx.
That's right. That's right. I could be sitting in millions right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks cool. My gut reaction, this is based off nothing other than my gut and like the feeling around the office, is that hype levels seem quite a bit higher than the Wii U.
For sure.
Everyone
Yeah.
seemed to be like, I don't even know if I'm going to get one. Maybe
Or at
I'll
least
get
less
one.
cynical.
Yeah, and now the Switch, like I feel like everyone is very not worried, but just we're a little like, at least for me, I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know how the controllers are gonna feel, but I'm on board enough to like, okay, I'll get one day one and I'll give it
Yeah.
a shot, and then we'll see.
Yeah, for me, it was having Zelda at launch and then knowing that Mario's coming later this year. Just those two. That was enough for me.
Guys, both Zelda and Mario are turning out to be the exact things we asked for.
Did you
Yeah.
notice
That's
how
like
on
our
Scoop
wish
we
list.
completely nailed Mario?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We talked about how we wanted it to
Hub
be
world exploration,
like
big,
much more exploration based.
and we talked about Sunshine and 64.
Yep.
And they mentioned them on the stream as their inspiration.
That was
Bringing the
pretty
camera
uncanny.
back down behind Mario's
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah.
cam.
So completely nailed. I'll add a caveat. I don't know about that hub world, man. That
looks
New York,
awesome.
that New York
We don't
City
know
hub
if
world
that's
is
New
not looking
Donk
good to me.
City.
Donk
Get
City.
out of here.
I don't know if it's actually the hub world. It could just be a level.
No, we actually there's some hints in the trailer that it might not be a hub world, that it's just one of the worlds you go
Yeah,
to.
like Mario's traveling around to
Right.
different places.
Whether it's a hub world or whether it's one of the worlds, there was something going on in that in particular world that I shut your mouth.
I know what you're saying.
No, so
I know what you're
yeah,
saying.
the style clash was pretty harsh there.
Very Sonic.
And even it's very. The
Sonic
first
Adventure.
thing I thought to myself, I was
But there
like,
are several good Sonic games.
I know, but none of them are based in anything that looks like a city, though. Sam, all of those.
What about
were garbage.
Casino Night Zone?
Okay, kind of.
What about the Marble? I lost it. I lost it.
No.
What's it
The
called?
streak
Marble
has
Zone?
ended. The
Yeah,
streak has ended.
don't say it the wrong way, because
Marble
then
Ruins?
you'll
Oh,
be.
Yeah.
No, but I looked at it and I was like, wow, it's like they just looked at. It's like someone over there just discovered Sonic Adventure and was like, I have an idea, and I'm like, no, I don't want you to have that idea.
No, it's so disturbing and horrifying seeing little chibi Mario
so weird.
right next to the full size like men in
Like,
suits that
what?
are like, who's this? I love it
The
so
jump
much.
roping part?
Yeah, the jump roping part.
But you like that?
Yeah, it's the best.
Because it's
dude.
really weird.
Yeah, it's really
It
weird.
is really
and
weird.
awesome.
I'll give you that.
Mario jumps off his hat.
Yeah.
I like that. So now, gameplay wise,
I mean, honestly,
saw
the
things that were interesting.
Piantas
Yeah.
and the Sunshine Town were like super weird and jarring the first time I played it.
Oh, sure, but I felt like in a really weird, fringy, kind of alternate dimension way, they still felt like Mario to me.
I think there's a style issue. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're
it's a
going to do a
style
city,
thing.
it doesn't look like a Mario city, but is he supposed to be on Earth?
But it's
That seems to be the
It's
plot,
New
right?
Donk City. There's no city called that on Earth.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Or is there?
I
Justin?
think-
Maybe
My
Donkey
fact
Kong took it
checkers
over.
are telling me that's correct.
In my headcanon is that it's a direct
Your
sequel.
headcanon?
The other kind of canon one in.
a new Mega Man boss.
I think it's a direct sequel to the original Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong climbs up that building, wrecks it,
Yep.
and then he becomes the mayor of the place.
New Donk City.
And now he's
They need to hire the wrecking crew to
this
clean
is
things
the
up.
this is the dark timeline where Mario Jumpman wasn't able to defeat Donkey Kong, and now he lords over New Donk City.
They referenced the weird Zelda timeline situation in the Zelda trailer.
Do they?
Yeah.
I didn't even
really?
pick up on that.
Or they in the Switch stream, I mean. They
There's some-
actually called it something. I lost it.
Well, 'cause I didn't see the
something
stream.
about Ganon. There's some dark timeline.
There's been rumors from the very beginning that Breath of the Wild is in the Wind Waker timeline because it's got the what are the names? The little leaf people that are in
I think little leaf people is
the little leaf people.
Yeah.
They're hiding like in the trailer. They're up in the trees and stuff.
You see them on a little propeller. You can find them in the demo too. And then there's also the bird people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then Gorons and Zora. So.
Sure, but in terms of art style, it's also the closest to Wind Waker of all the 3D Zeldas, I would say. So like
It's getting there.
the lineage seems like
Skyward Sword
likely.
looked like the two.
I mean, even stupid games like 1-2 Switch. I'm annoyed that it's $50 and it's not a pack.
I'm annoyed that it exists.
No, but it's like that game looks totally stupid as hell. But it seems so fun. It seems so fun. Like I don't know if it's good or not. But my gut reaction is that it recaptures that Wii Sports. Not a very deep game, but everyone remembers it. Like I feel like 1-2 Switch feels similar.
Everything I'm about to say is going to be funny, but I'm going to talk about balls.
Lay it on me.
Oh,
There's a thing where you can hold that controller and shake it, and you have to guess how many balls you're holding in the cup in your hand.
Yeah.
Just on haptic feedback.
Well, if we had a tournament in the office, Sam.
Don't make jokes about balls.
Well, I'm just saying, I think you'd be pretty good at it.
I couldn't believe that haptic feedback can do that.
I think it looks great. Like
That's
I think,
really interesting.
I think the HD Rumble that they're calling it,
HD
and
Rumble,
the dumb sandwich eating, like it feels like it totally reminds me of something that like non-gamers would have in their living room.
If that was WarioWare, we'd all be on board.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not calling it
Yeah,
WarioWare.
just to make a WarioWare.
so they can do WarioWare next year.
Yeah, I think WarioWare though has even more variety than what they've shown of 1-2
Maybe it's
Switch.
not as widely appealing.
Sure.
It's a mistake that
is
it's
this the thing
$50.
they want to take on talk shows?
Yeah, exactly. Like this is gonna be on Jimmy Fallon. This is gonna be all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's going to lead the charge for as far as like what the general, like you said, non-gamer thinks of what the Switch is. Like 1-2 Switch is exactly what it's going to be.
And I pre-ordered the Switch. I want Nintendo to be great again, but I'm very skeptical. Like only 80 games, that's so few. Like compared to other consoles have a couple hundred usually announced day one.
5 at launch.
Token support from EA and Activision. Like EA is bringing FIFA, and I don't know if we got confirmation on this, but the rumors that it was like the last gen version of FIFA being ported over to the Switch.
Even Ubisoft, I mean, like, yeah, they're bringing games that are a
Just
big
Dance.
hit. For, like, Just Dance is obviously a hit for the Wii crowd, and it's a big hit for Ubisoft in terms of like its mainstream penetration. But I mean, that's not an Assassin's Creed
So
or
we'll
For
know-
Honor or anything big like that.
We'll know by like this holiday whether that system's going to go any. Like either it's going to have strong momentum out of the gate, and then EA and Activision and Ubisoft and all these Western companies are going to say, okay, here's a dozen games.
Yeah.
Or it's not. And like I don't think it's going to take years for us to figure out whether this thing's going to go anywhere or not.
Even Skyrim, they haven't confirmed if it's the special edition.
Yeah.
It could just be like a port of the original Skyrim.
I mean, indications show that it's not going to be the special edition. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but it looked prettier, but we didn't see it in motion.
And I think people are underestimating just how scant the launch offering really is. I mean, everyone uses rolls out the excuse of like, well, every system has a scant launch. No. There's scant, and then there's literally five games on store shelves.
But when
on
one
the
of
day
those
it comes
games
out.
is Zelda,
It's a Zelda machine for me. Like I would pay $300 for a perfect Zelda game, and I'm hoping this will be that good.
It's also going to be on the Wii U, though. And what's weird is that we have there's kind of conflicting reports about whether or not the Switch version is actually any better. Like
we're doing a graphics comparison that'll be out in the next couple days.
Yeah,
and
that'll really
I've
tell a
seen
lot.
the preview of it, and Switch looks remarkably different, if not better. It looks different.
The lighting I hear
footage
is
we
quite a bit
have
different
that
looking.
we were able to capture at the event and capture on our own. We have independently captured this stuff. I think it's looking different.
Interesting to see because Aonuma said that it will run the same. Like in terms of frame rate, he said it runs the same.
weird, huh?
But some places are reporting that it doesn't run the same. So I really want to I think this is going to be one of those things where I need to see
running
it
the
in front
same
of
and
myself.
having better textures or better lighting.
Sure.
stuff is different. So
Those make a difference.
I think that's
We've heard, man, the different configurations. The one thing that might stop this, not the one thing, but like something that could stop this from being like a Wii level of success is just the simplicity of like, here's this remote, you wave it around, stuff happens on screen. Like the Joy-Con configurations and options are like confusing. They're confusing for us in
different.
the
Oh,
audience.
yeah.
Like,
Other even.
like how, like we were so mixed up, and granted we don't have the console yet, but we were so mixed up about how you charge them. If you're playing them in the control, like the classic controller shell that it comes with, your Joy-Cons aren't charging. You have to buy the play and charge kit separately, but they are charging if they're slid onto the sides of the tablet, for example. Like
If it's docked.
like
Right.
that stuff is like it doesn't have that sort of it just works sort of mentality that Apple's best stuff has, and that the Wii had. So it's all the different play configurations are both a drawback and a con for the console, in my opinion. Like everyone says that playing just that, like splitting the Joy-Con in two, and I give Sam one and I get one, like that's just a terrible way to play.
Like it's too cramped of a controller to do it.
Yeah,
but man, it looks good when they show people that it's possible. It's almost like
I
might be
think
all marketing.
It has motion control in it, and the right one only has an IR sensor in it. And so I think for sort of a casual, like I'm going to play a ping pong game or I'm going to play 1-2 switch, like hand somebody the other one. But for any kind of, I don't anticipate a single Joy-Con getting used very much where you turn it on its side and then have to play this tiny little cramped controller. Like that configuration just seems awful.
Sure. And like the other question, like kind of piggybacking on what you're saying, I have all these questions about how it functions as a portable system. Like they're not really marketing it yet as a portable system that can also be plugged in to go to your TV.
It's a Wii U replacement.
It seems like it's the other way around, right? It's a Wii U replacement that can also be used portably. But then I have all these questions, like that theoretical dude that we saw in all the, the video clips who's sitting there playing like Skyrim or whatever on the plane. Does he have the whole dock and everything in his luggage? Or is that, can I literally just travel with,
we have some answers on that.
With just the right. Can I just travel with an adapter and have a Switch, a full Switch experience? My other question regarding that too is just like, then you think about peripherals, right? Like part of what makes a handheld gaming system, and Nintendo's in particular, they've always been good about this, is that the unit itself just travels well. It folds up, it protects the screen, it fits in your pocket.
It has a handle.
Right, from the GameCube, sure. But, that's a really big differentiator for me for Nintendo's handhelds versus, say, Sony's, which don't travel as well, even though I love the Vita to death, it doesn't travel as well. So, like, I can't imagine how well what's essentially just a tablet with no clamshell to close and protect the screen, and will it have a line of peripherals where there'll be separate cases that I can use to make it more portable and more travelable? I don't know.
I finally stopped, but for years I commuted with an iPad every day. And, everyone had that sort of fold-down magnetic cover. And
sure, which is great. Which is brilliant.
It was inexpensive-ish, and just worked. Like, it felt like it was part of the device. Like, the device honestly felt weird and naked without it.
It was totally essential.
Yeah, and absolutely. I haven't seen the equivalent for a Switch case or cover yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got a kickstand.
Yeah.
I think for airplanes, right? Like, just the idea of, like, a compromise-free Zelda on an airplane.
So, the Switch is out March 3rd. I have a wedding to fly to on March 11th in
So we'll
Colorado.
see.
So it's that's so cool that I'm just going to be able to take the new Zelda with me on this weekend
And they
trip.
said 3 hours of battery life guaranteed for Zelda.
Yeah.
Which is enough for a flight from California to Colorado.
Yeah.
That is very poor battery life. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very powerful tablet. Like, I understand why it is that way, but that's not really enough to be practical in a lot of contexts.
There are always third-party solutions to these things if there's enough demand.
I would need to see what the intense version of gaming on an iPhone is like these days to really make that call. I don't really. I think it's about the same.
No, it's long.
Like Pokemon Go was. Remember Pokemon Go was a big battery drain. That would last me 2 or 3 hours.
That's a little bit of a special case.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there was more inefficiency and some craziness about how it integrates like GPS and other features.
I hope that's what it was, but it's still that same way.
Even a mobile optimized GPU, like we
9 months
actually
in.
still don't have the details of what NVIDIA has crammed in this thing. But, again, even one that's mobile optimized and power optimized, like 3 hours, like I appreciate that that's impressive from an engineering standpoint, but I'm just saying from a usability standpoint.
Totally.
Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like it's not long enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
if the console's a success, I would love to see, come out with a premium version in a year or something that somehow shoves a more
and it'll have accessible batteries.
has
so
a
you
bigger
can mess
battery
with
in
it.
there.
Yeah. So in regards to the launch lineup, which you're referring to as scant, there's actually enough supplemental material for me that I know is coming out around launch. I love Bomberman. It's cool that there's a new Bomberman game coming. The new Wonder Boy is coming to the system. Disgaea 5 Complete is coming to it, which is awesome because that game's not even on Vita yet, so it'll be great to play on the go.
I'll use touchscreen.
Any word on Stardew Valley?
Not yet, but what was I?
Because I want to hold off on playing that, and everybody's playing it now in the office.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will be out soon afterwards, and that'll be cool to revisit that again with all the new added content there. So for me, there's enough supplemental material.
You haven't named the one game that I thought would be a Damon lock-in, because for me it's hands down the most interesting Switch game.
Project Octo
Path Travel.
Right. So that, but I don't think that's not launch window.
No.
Yeah, that's not the launch window game, which might even be a launch day game that I think looks the most interesting.
If you're gonna say Puyo Puyo Tetris. That is also awesome.
So I wasn't
totally
going to
great
say that, but
multiplayer
yeah,
game.
that's totally a Damon joint. What about Snipperclips is very interesting to me.
I thought that's what you were building up to.
No, it's a tie to me between Snipperclips.
All right, we're
and
gonna ask you 20 questions.
and Has Been Heroes.
Oh, I don't know anything about that one.
Oh, you don't. Yeah. So it's like this lane-based. It's like Darkest Dungeon, but lane-based and action-based instead of just turn-based. Like all these kinds of deep
and
RPG
that's
elements.
Frozen Byte, right? The guys that do Trine?
you do Trine, exactly.
It looks cool.
It looks really
I mean,
rad.
Snipperclips is the big sleeper. If you haven't watched the
I agree with you totally.
Is that the only eShop one announced too?
I think it's...
That's the eShop.
It's the big eShop
I'm sure
one.
there will be more, but that's that's the big digital release that they're talking about right now. Yeah, it's a local co-op where you cut out a shape and then you and a buddy need to cut out a shape that helps you solve these puzzles.
That's great.
And that was an indie game a couple years ago. There's an interesting story behind it that it was at I think like GDC Europe or at some shows like that, and then that game went away. It was gone, and then it reemerged, and people said, "Hey, Snipperclips looks a lot like this game from a couple years ago," and it turns out the developers working, Nintendo tapped them to turn the game into what is now Snipperclips. So
and it's just bursting with personality too. Like those shapes that you can rotate and clip out, they're like like anamorphic, and they've got these beautiful facial expressions and the way they animate and gesticulate with things that happen. It's pretty funny. It kind of reminds me of how you can do like in terms of making subtle little visual cues to add personality to inanimate objects. It reminds me of Threes in that sense, where all the tiles kind of seem to have a personality of their own. Oh yeah, it feels to me very much like that visually, which drew me in right away.
Vince, I have one word for you. Arms.
Oh God, Arms. Yeah, Arms looks dope, man. Like,
Was it?
And I think Arms looks cool. And like, especially now that I know that you don't have to play it with motion controls, I can just play it like an actual game.
It should have just been a Dawson based game.
It does look like that, right? But I mean, like, what I love about it is that it reminds me very much of other 3D arena-based combat games like Virtual On Oratorio Tangram, and like I think it was
Power Stone. Is that good?
So that gets a 3D arena, but like more where you have this full. It seems like you have like full 360-degree, like all-axis mobility, kind of like Virtual On and Gundam v Gundam and Rise of the Imperfects.
Yeah, I've never played any of these.
Yeah, you may or may not know these games, but like especially the fighting game community loves these kinds of games as well. So they kind of have their own little skill set that goes along with them. I'm surprised you didn't play Virtual On. You were a Dreamcast guy,
I played
right?
Virtual On.
Right. So that style of game, Arms to me looks like that style of three-dimensional, all-range combat game. So I'm totally down to jump into that.
Yeah, I mean, Splatoon was surprisingly good for what it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe they can do that again with Arms.
I didn't play Splatoon on the Wii U, so maybe I'll check it out on the Switch. The Splatoon's coming.
Splatoon 2.
Did they say June or did they say summer?
I think they said summer.
So Nintendo's being smart about finally we've been telling them to do this, like us and Nintendo. Let me tell you how to run your business, but they're they have some big games at launch, 1, 2, Switch and
Zelda.
and obviously Zelda, but a range of like kind of something for everybody, and then Mario Kart in April. And then Splatoon in summer, and then Arms is somewhere in there, and then in the fall you have Mario. And so finally like sort of a steady cadence of first party software.
If they hit it.
Yeah, if they hit it. Some of that's going to be out of their hands, but they're singing the right tune so far, at least. Instead of like just these weird dry patches that they're not. Everybody's guilty of it, but
we still don't know anything about Virtual Console. So in between,
That's why, I wanted to bring up
details about online.
If they start bringing, again, all these Wii U games that nobody owned a Wii U, like it's the worst selling major console in years and years and years. So how many people just didn't get to experience, Pikmin 3 or Bayonetta 2 or any of these?
And if they use the pad, that you won't be able to experience them the same way.
Well, that's true, but
maybe
maybe
you have to dock it at home.
I just think, you're talking about Virtual Console. I guess I'm talking about Wii U. Bring some of that Wii U stuff over to bridge the gap too. They're doing it with Mario Kart,
which could be on Virtual,
and they'll probably do it with Smash. I mean, we know that.
Yeah, the Smash Brothers, well, for sure.
And Mario Kart 8. I mean, I played it, but not a lot. Like I played it when it came out, and did some races and beat all the cups and stuff, and then put it away. And so it'll feel like a fresh game for me too to pick that up.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like based on what we've seen, Mario Kart 8 would still be the prettiest game on the Switch right now. Zelda looks really good, but I mean, I think in my opinion, Mario Kart 8 is a stunning game.
Yeah, it is
a stunning game.
They are also offering a new online service, like a paid online service like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold.
Sucks.
It's like something that Nintendo's needed to do for a long time, but what they've announced about it so far does sound kind of negative. It's something you have to pay for basic chat services, and you will get free games every month, but they're old NES and Super Nintendo games, and you only get to keep them for a month.
Yeah.
Whereas PlayStation Plus games, you get to keep as long as you
Subscribe.
I mean, I'm kind of torn on that. Like, on the one hand, if it's like, hey, Balloon Fight is free, like, I don't care if I only have Balloon Fight for a month or I have Balloon Fight forever. Like, it's fine. Like, I'll get my fill of this game for a month, but it still feels stingy compared to what their competitors are doing.
But they're apparently adding online functionality to these classic games. So, like, if it's Balloon Fight and you can play like online with people,
that's kind of
that's
incredible.
cool.
I didn't hear
but
that.
I didn't hear that
yeah,
either.
but like, so why only make that available for a month? Like, that seems significant. Make that available permanently.
Well, I also, it's just like, it's such an like, what an easy marketing message, easy sell to say, hey, $10 a month, and then you get one SNES game every month, you know,
and you build your library.
yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
you get
People would
one,
die for that.
one classic game
I mean,
and
yeah,
online
that's-
play and all our games, $10 a month. Like,
so
that's so easy to market and explain to people. And now, like, just with the fact that we're talking about it on the show now, like, you have to explain to people now your games go away, and that's gonna feel bad, and like, it just feels like a mistake.
And then
Maybe they'll do like a club, like a book club.
Yeah.
And they like make a big deal about each game each month and like kind of make it to do. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, like a trade, you know, like it's some new marketing drop and like make that game feel fresh again.
Sure. I mean, I think a lot of it's going to come down to how well they integrate their online services with each and every game. Because to me, that's the big differentiator for Xbox Live and for PSN is that like it kind of takes the wind out of having to spend money on the service when you see how much the infrastructure has been upgraded and how well integrated all the online services that you're paying for are worked into every game that you buy. Nintendo's never done a good job of that, but arguably that's because they've never charged for the service before. So hopefully we'll at least see that, okay, now we're spending money. Now you're spending money on this. Now we're going to get very serious about integrating these services into every game we make.
Yeah, your Nintendo
We don't know if
account.
that's going to happen, but let's see.
Or like Nintendo has been okay about that. Like even in a single player game like 3D World. Well, that's a multiplayer game, but I mean like, you know, it had like, you know, stickers and leaving notes on levels and stuff like that for people online. Like, so in some ways they've been ahead of the curve. Like you don't see a lot of that in you know, first party Xbox or PlayStation games. Single player experiences that smartly use a network to sort of layer on some sort of communication aspect. Like that's neat.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it goes to show it'll come down for me to first parties are obviously going to do everything they can to sell the value of first party services, but I want to see if like third party games integrate with it as well.
Well, I also like I don't care about my trophy score or achievement score, but what I do like about systems like that are integrated, you know, from the top down, every game has to include them, is that then you can look back. Like I can look at my Steam library and just see for all time how, you know, what's my most played game, what's the games that I've completed 100%, like that sort of you know, backloggery, or you know, being able to look at things from that perspective. Nintendo, I mean, they're just a decade behind, so maybe paid online will finally be an excuse to them to say, now look, here's your Nintendo account. And if they did that with like the virtual console games, like here, you know, you get something on your profile that says you completed Super Mario World with all the secret exits. Like that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I want to see a remix offering on Switch.
Yeah, where's
NES
NES?
remix?
Something like NES remix.
SNES,
SNES remix. Any sort of remix from Nintendo would be good.
It's a great
SNES
series.
remix? Oh my god, yeah.
I bought
Sign
it.
me up.
I bought my Wii U for NES remix.
Yeah.
No regrets. It's great.
You got two of them. They made
So-
two of them.
This one was a lot better.
And I also have to think they'll bring Mario Maker over to Switch.
Sure.
It's just like it's too big and too significant of a game, not to just let it, flounder on the Wii U.
It would only work when it's undocked as a creation system.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I said. Nintendo has a weird messaging issue. It's what I was trying to communicate earlier. Like, here are the 8 different configurations this game can be played in. This one can be played with one Joy-Con, but not this. You know, Zelda requires both Joy-Cons, and you're right. There's probably going to be some games that are tablet only, and like,
Or for modes of them.
I guess I'm kind of on the fence. I'm torn on whether that's an asset or a drawback. Like, it complicates their messaging, but it does give them a lot of flexibility in like how their games look and feel. And like a Disgaea with just touch controls or a Mario Maker could be great.
Yeah, and something that they were roundly criticized for with the Wii U is that so many people, even years on from the system's launch, didn't really understand exactly what it was. Was it a tablet? Was it a
Such a
controller?
mistake
Exactly. It was kind of a big mistake. So here they haven't gone simpler. They've gone more complex. It's like it's that times 10 because there's so many different kind of modular, configurations you can have for it. So they had a difficult time selling the value of the Wii U with the gamepad. I have no idea how they're going to be able to deliver the value message on
But they
the Switch.
did do the one. They simplified their overall handheld versus console message by saying this does both. And I think that's it. Since it's unifying those two things, we've talked about this maybe on GameScoop. I think it's important for kids to say, "Hey, you don't have to buy me a console and a handheld. This Christmas, I just want this."
Yeah.
And that's like that message alone might be the most powerful one that Nintendo needs.
true.
Although it sounds like for all of us, we don't really care about the portable side of it that much.
I think it's a nice added bonus.
I mean, I'll use
It's
it.
a nice added bonus. That's exactly it. Yeah.
I'll play it on my couch totally. Like depending on the game. Like I played Pikmin 3 on my couch right in front of my television with the television off, just on my Wii U gamepad.
Yeah.
And there'll be certain games where this just feels like the way to play it. And obviously other games I'll use the fancy big 1080.
And for reviewing games, it'll be quite nice. For all of you out there that review video games and have to go back and forth between an office, it'll be great to have your console with you at all times.
Work
That's
all
true.
the time.
I can
Never
literally
stop
have no
working.
downtime. I can no longer be like, Sam, I'm going to stay home so that I can get that extra 2 hours of playing the game
Or I'm
for
going
review
to the
anymore.
bathroom, like, don't forget
Nope,
your Nintendo Switch.
don't
forget your
miss. No,
Switch.
you can make the commute and still
a
play
deadline
Legend of Zelda
coming
Breath of the
up.
Wild.
Yeah, it's true.
Damn it, Nintendo.
Let's check in with the listeners.
Hey, Big Tony.
listeners.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Evan from Long Island.
Hey, Evan.
did.
Nice. The longest island.
He is anticipating a huge spring for games, and he guesses that maybe this March will be one of the greatest months for games ever. He says,
ever.
Just with Zelda and Mass Effect
with the
alone.
recent announcement of the Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild in early March, I ask, is March 2017 slated to be one of the greatest months in video game history? Let's review. If you allow February 28th, you get Horizon Zero Dawn.
Won't allow it.
Yeah.
March 3rd is Switch and Breath of the Wild. March 7th,
Snipperclips.
Ghost Recon Wildlands and Nier Automata. March 21st is Mass Effect Andromeda.
You skipped something.
Which one?
March 17th, Tekken 7.
Tekken. I didn't even know that was coming out
absolutely.
in March.
Taken 7?
South Park is supposed to be at
His kids
Q1.
got taken again?
South Park is supposed to be at Q1. That would be sometime before the end of
By
March.
the end of March.
Sure.
He also adds April 4th is Persona 5. And I would actually, I think Evan is onto something, but I think actually this whole spring is incredible because also in April we're getting Yooka-Laylee. And then in May is Injustice 2,
Yep.
at least.
Yep.
We know there's going to be other things too. So I think actually this whole first half of 2017.
Will Injustice finally have fatalities?
No, that's not going to happen.
What do they call
Ever.
them? Do they still call them heroic brutalities? That's what it was in DC. DC
it wasn't
versus
heroic
Mortal Kombat.
brutalities.
That's what it was called in DC.
In Injustice 1, they just called them super moves.
Gotcha, yeah. I did the guide for that Mortal Kombat versus...
Oh,
was that,
oh my
Cam?
God. Yeah, Mortal Kombat versus DC.
Yeah, and that's what they had. They had fatalities, but you couldn't do a fatality on Superman. And Superman couldn't do a fatality on anybody else.
He doesn't
the Mortal
kill.
Kombat characters could do fatalities on each other. So
They,
they did heroic brutalities, which would kill a normal person. He would shove people into cement and stuff like that. Like
There was,
3 feet down.
That MK vs. DC game was leaked years and years before it came out on, I think, NeoGAF or some forum, and the guy got laughed out of town. He said, guys, I have insider... It was like when they were coming off of Mortal Kombat 8 or 9 or whatever. Like,
Yeah, people are like,
now
no way.
it feels, normal, but it came out... He's like, no, they're doing a Mortal Kombat vs. DC. And everyone's like, shut up, get out of here. And the guy might have even have been banned. And then 2 years later, the game was announced. I like seeing stuff like that.
They all laughed at me when I said heroic brutality.
In regards to this
ridiculous
spring,
term.
I think game developers are getting better and better. Our marketing people or whoever, has the final say on a release date about spreading games out across the year. Like Witcher 3 was not a Q4 game. Like it used to be.
That was such a great
Summer.
game.
And like
April, May
Batman
game.
Arkham City, like it used to be all the biggest stuff. You had no choice but to release it September, October. Uncharted. We've been leading up to this, and now I think 2017 is the first sort of true actualization of games coming out all year round.
Yeah, and obviously there were great games released last year, but I felt like there were really long periods where I was just looking for something new to play.
I mean, even launching a console in March, I don't want to say it's literally unprecedented, but very uncommon.
for a big
I'm
console,
trying to think of one that has that has
Saturn.
happened. The Saturn is the right, but that wasn't in March. That was in June.
Well,
right?
Nintendo does it.
That
with
was
their
a summer
handhelds.
launch.
No.
Yeah,
it was in the,
sometimes
it was
they
in the
do their
spring.
handheld
It was
March.
spring. It was spring.
Yeah, it's great. We're getting Resident Evil 7 next week.
Yep.
So January, February are pretty strong too.
Yeah, and like I said, Horizon Zero Dawn. That's a huge deal.
in February. Also, For Honor is
It's
in
good.
Yep, For Honor.
February. This is Peter.
Hey, Peter.
He says, growing up, my only experience with Nintendo games came from playing my Nintendo 64. After that, I almost exclusively played PlayStation and Xbox.
That's too bad.
I would like that to change now.
Cool.
However, I'm not sure what the best entry point is at this stage. I could buy a 3DS and enjoy the vast library of 3DS exclusives the system has to offer and play all the NES and Super Nintendo games via the Virtual Console. However, I use my bike to get to school and work, so I don't really have much use of a handheld. The Wii U seems to have some great titles and seems to offer up some cool couch co-op fun with Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart, and again, the Virtual Console. And lastly, there is the new Switch. Breath of the Wild looks cool, but can be played on the Wii U as well. But one could hope Nintendo is going to bring even more great games to the system, and of course, the Virtual Console. So what would your suggestion be to one who would like to enjoy Nintendo games for the first time in a long time? Look to the past and catch up, or keep the eyes on the horizon and hope for greatness?
My answer is none of the above.
Wow.
Get a Retron 5 and buy a bunch of old SNES and NES carts for
I was gonna say
super
the same
cheap
thing.
and do that.
Think he's trying to play the old.
He asked for a good entry point.
Sure.
There's no better entry point than the Super Nintendo.
I think playing old games in their original state is really fun. And the Retron is weird because it has a controller, but you can hook up old controllers to it, and it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And I think
And it works on HDMI.
finding old cartridges and learning about old games and knowing, like, everybody talks about ActRaiser. What is that? Well, you can get it for like $10 on eBay. Might as well check it out that way.
It's
Super
actually-
Mario World, stuff like that.
I mean, Nintendo. It's a failing of Nintendo's that there's not an easy answer to that question.
Yeah, that's true.
Nintendo should give Peter an easy answer for, hey, I didn't play the GameCube or the Wii. What are my options? If you buy the Switch, we know because they're Nintendo that there's going to be some kind of virtual console on there, but they're not talking about it. Like, if you want to play, if you're catching up on Zelda, and hey, I want to play Wind Waker, like, is it going to be on the Switch? We don't know. Like, Wind Waker HD came to the Wii U, but you wouldn't really recommend someone buy a Wii U just for one HD remake of a game. Like, there's no. It's a tough question.
The nexus point right now for the most you can play on an old system that's more recent is the Wii.
The Wii.
Because it can play the really good GameCube games, which is good. There's good Wii games.
It has backwards compatibility out of the box. You put the
Yes.
Wii.
You can put the discs from
discs
GameCube in.
and then it had a strong, much stronger virtual console.
The biggest
support
library.
than the Wii U did. So
Yeah.
that's true. If you want GameCube, if you want
You
Wii
can
and
play
older,
the Metroids, the Zeldas, and the Marios.
Metro,
on
what's that?
Yeah, I know. So
They
yeah,
meant Reggie talked about Metroid.
Wii is
So they're
actually a
still
really good
making
answer,
Metroids.
and I think the Switch will be that console, but it's just hard to say so definitively until we get more details on its virtual console.
Gosh, but before I say that, look up, make sure the Wii eShop still exists and you can get everything.
Have this have gone offline?
Yeah.
I'm
don't
sure
know.
there's still millions of. I'm sure Nintendo makes bank off random people turning on their
hope
Wii
so.
and
And that
downloading.
eShop was great because it even had stuff from like Sega Genesis.
Yeah, TurboGrafx.
TurboGrafx
That's
16.
where I didn't own a TurboGrafx.
Yeah.
That was the first time I played Bonk and a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and like the Genesis and Mega Drive side, that was a good place for me to play a lot of like Mega Drive and Genesis games that are really rare. Alien Soldier and like Gunstar Heroes.
Yeah,
and,
me too.
Yeah, Musha, like a lot of good stuff there.
Okay. But Peter's question was, should he get a 3DS or a Wii U or a Switch? To which I would say,
Oh, I didn't hear you said that.
yeah. To which I would say, if he doesn't have time for portable gaming, forget the 3DS, forget the Wii U because it's a dead console. The Switch, I think all the best of the Wii U, like we were talking about, the best of the Wii U library is going to be brought over to the Switch. And if you do happen to want to take it on the go, you can. So I would think of those three, your Switch is your best option today.
Yeah. Man, Nintendo, as you just got me thinking, like they have the best games library out of any company on earth.
Sure.
Like hands down, I think if you just across the board, overall from beginning to now, it's the best. Like it's better than anybody.
Well, also,
And then
like, who has been making games
Yeah.
that long, you know?
consistently excellent, and they don't do enough to exploit that, I guess. Like if it was just, hey, Nintendo Switch, day one, every Zelda game is available for digital download.
Right, like imagine, like kind of to your point from before, right? Imagine with starting in the Wii era,
Yeah.
they had a program like the PlayStation Network, where every month you get a free Nintendo Classic, and you just keep that as long as you keep the.
Yeah.
You right now you would have a library of possibly 100 or more of A-grade Nintendo classics. Who would ever walk away from that? Why would you ever unsubscribe from that? Like they would have a library of value that across several platforms that would be unbeatable. Hopefully they start now.
I'd like to see them do an EA Access sort of deal too,
Yeah.
where even if it's not their whole library, but just hey, give us X number of dollars a month, and then here's access to 30 Nintendo classics, and we'll swap
Greatest
some in
hits
and
lineup,
out over
yeah.
time. Like that'd be, I think they would make a lot of money doing that.
All right, now is the time on GameScoop when we play Video Game 20 Questions.
Oh boy.
Our suggestion this week comes from Ricardo L. He emailed his suggestion to gamescoop@ign.com. Just like you can, let the questioning begin.
Do you? I like the question from last week. Does your character earn money or currency in this game?
I can't answer that question.
Okay. Do you play as a human?
Freebie.
So is that first one a freebie? Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay. If you can't answer it, okay.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Do you play as a human? Yes.
Cool. Is it from before 2000?
No.
Wait, so it means after 2000.
Yes.
So then I would ask: Is
Not
it?
counting that question.
Is it? It was released before 2010.
Yes.
Only 2000s kids will remember this game.
All right.
Wait, so I need to orient myself. That's like GameCube generation, Wii generation.
And
Right, and
360 and
360, PS2.
PS3
Well, actually,
also.
but right, but that's also the tail.
It's also 64. Yeah, it's a tough.
That's
it's a
tripped us
tough
up before.
decade for
Very
us.
tail
yeah,
end.
could be very
of-
tail end PS1.
Chewy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hosed us with. I think it was Majora's Mask came out right on that 2000 line.
Okay. Want to start narrowing down platforms, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. We had a really clever way to do this last time.
Japanese or American?
Well, I want to get platform, but I don't remember. Is this a platform exclusive?
Yes.
Great.
Cool.
Home run. That's a home run.
Sony platform?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
So-
Okay, so now maybe we start working on genre. So we know he said we do play as a human, right?
Well, I want to. I want. Is this a first party game?
Yes.
Okay. There's many Sony exclusives that Sony didn't make.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So do you is this game played primarily by shooting?
No.
Okay.
So what is that? It's a first party Sony game, Gran Turismo.
We have enough questions. We can just find out what console it's on.
That's true. Yeah. Let's narrow that down.
The most popular one from that era would have been PS2 or PS3.
PS3
Oh,
is
we
too
could do
late.
handheld or we could do
It
hand.
would be handheld. I think it's probably. I mean, it's probably a PS2 game. That's the era.
Should we just do home or handheld and then go from there?
Sure.
Is it a home system?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it a PS3 game?
Yes.
Okay.
First party PS3 game.
First party PS3.
Uncharted,
Heavenly Sword.
Heavenly Sword. Those count as
you're
first
human.
party?
Killzone.
They published them. They didn't develop them
Mm-hmm.
internally. They're not like Sony Studios games.
Layer.
Clarification.
Okay.
If Sony published the game, do you consider that a first party game?
Yes.
Example being Heavenly Sword was made by
Ninja Theory. Right. But
That was a
They're not Sony owned, but they
exclusive,
published it.
But Sony published it.
But your question was it a Sony exclusive?
Well, we asked if it was a first party game as well, and you said yes.
First party is what he's asking about.
Well, it is a first party game.
yeah. So first party means Sony published. Let's just
Right. And it's not shooting, so it can't be Killzone or Uncharted.
Could be Heavenly Sword still in the mix.
Could still be Heavenly Sword.
You got the Andy Serkis in this game. That's not a real question. He was in that game, right?
Yes, he was.
Is this a
Played
3D
the
game?
villain.
Good question.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What does that mean?
Hold on. Yes. That's 10.
So that makes Heavenly Sword and Uncharted like completely out of the question.
Yeah, if he's not sure.
Fat Princess? I don't even know.
Last
where-
Patapon?
Pat
We had
Pat's
Fat
2D.
Princess before.
But
Yeah.
why?
Is that on PS3?
But why the
Hey, is that on PS3?
Patapon? No, that was probably.
Did this game get a retail release?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not the last guy, or
right. So yeah, last guy. That's a deep cut. I like
good
it. I
game.
like the last guy.
That was a good game.
But what if that had a
marketing.
retail release and that's what it is?
Yeah. So that does eliminate all those weird PSN games, PS3 PSN games. So it can't like now.
Well,
Like,
it can be in PSN and
no,
also
like Resogun, or no, like
It can't be Stardust. right?
Stardust. Yeah.
Well, Stardust got a. Well,
Yeah, but Damon wouldn't do that to us.
right. Okay.
What's Stardust?
Super Stardust,
Stardust
HD.
HD.
And plus, you play as a human.
Right. He said you do play. Right. So we know that.
So it's
you're right,
not
you play as a
Flower.
human. Wow, you play as a human,
Journey. Are you a human in Journey?
Yeah,
Unclear.
We've had Journey
Unclear.
on this before,
but he's unclear about whether or not it's 3D or 2D. So that can't. Journey's
I'm not.
purely.
He said
I'm
three.
not unclear. It's a
You gave a long.
it's a difficult question to answer, but I came down on the yes side.
what if it's 3D Game Heroes?
But is that first party?
thought-
is that published
No.
by Sony?
I don't think so.
But
I
maybe
guess
something
it's
along
from-
those lines. I was thinking about like it's not going to be this game, but like a Disgaea-like game, like something that uses sprites, but then you still might call it 3D.
Right. I'm just trying to think about
Cooney.
I'm just trying to think about the Sony first party equivalent of something like that would have been released on PS3.
We can go through genres.
Did they publish that?
but
I know it
why-
was an exclusive.
But why would the on 2D or 3D? That's clearly just 3D.
Because it's cell
You
shaded.
probably have money in Ni no Kuni, by the way. You get no money in this game. You get currency in that game, almost for sure.
Oh yeah, you definitely. Oh right, he said no currency. Right?
Yeah.
He just doesn't.
Well, no,
Okay,
I,
yeah. No,
no,
you're
I
right.
did not say no currency.
Oh, you
Oh,
did?
that's right. It was a freebie. He said he didn't know.
Oh, it was a freebie. He said he didn't know.
Should we ask?
He would
genre-wise,
not know if it was an
Is it an
RPG, though.
RPG?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it an RPG?
No.
Okay,
Well,
that's
there
good.
you go.
Yeah. If it was an RPG, I think he'd pretty clearly know there.
So
there
there's
had to be
no
currency.
shooting.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
No shooting. It's a 3D game.
3D-ish.
Do you
You play as a human.
Do you use swords in this game? Is all swords in this game?
No.
Oh, I think you're starting to think about along the same lines.
No shooting or swords.
We don't even know if it's an action game. I'm picturing
That's
an
something.
action game.
Is this a fighting game?
No.
Yeah, are there Sony first-party fighting games?
There's the one.
Yeah, there's the one.
PlayStation All-Stars?
Yeah. We don't say its name though.
Okay. I guess it's good to eliminate that, though. I would have thought that would have been after.
I'm sure it is. It's way after because I worked
Yeah.
here when it came out.
I mean, this sounds like it has to be a launch region title, right? Those systems are from
What's that? What was that?
2008, 9.
What was that? No, that was PS2 launch. Was the fireworks game?
Yeah, Fantavision.
Fantastic.
I actually strangely kind of liked that game.
What are some other early PS3 exclusives? Yeah, like Warhawk.
PS3
There's a
was
lot of shooting in Warhawk.
there's a lot
Like, what do you guys remember reviewing and doing around that time?
So much pot.
for,
Yeah.
That's actually a joke. I was.
Resistance.
This is episode
Warhawk.
420.
Whoa.
Resistance, but that's what's that?
I said this is episode 420.
Damn.
What about sports games? Did they publish any sports games back then?
MLB the show.
MLB the show, but that wasn't a launch title.
But it also doesn't have to be a launch.
No, it doesn't have to be a launch
Damon
title.
wouldn't do that to us either.
No.
He might
Wouldn't do what?
Man,
make it MLB the show 2011
of a specific year.
Does,
God,
does that apply to everything?
MLB the show 08 on PSP.
Could it be MLB the show?
Based
on
off
everything
what
we
we've
know?
said so far? Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, it meets all the criteria. I don't think it's that. I'm just saying it meets all the criteria.
It's not an RPG.
Was this okay? Is this game developed in Japan?
Yes.
There you go. So that eliminates all Sony Bend 343.
Right.
That's 15.
That's 15.
5 questions to go.
So that's probably means Japan Studio Japan. What were they working on? Were they even around
Or
back then?
Sony published.
But like no Santa Monica, so no God of War.
I was at Tokyo.
What about Sly Cooper?
That was made by not.
Is that
That's
that's
also
right,
not made
that's
in
just-
Japan.
Yeah.
And you also earn a currency.
The made in Japan's a really good hint. Shoot. Are we being stupid? That's not. We're being stupid.
Not a shooter.
Are there puzzle games or anything?
PS
like that?
About sequels.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't help me.
Is this part of a or a license? No, they did a license.
So wait.
is this part of a series?
PS3. How many Sony made?
Are you guys asking that
How
question?
many Sony Japanese made PS3 exclusives were there? Why am I drawing such a blank?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I am either.
I mostly blame Vince.
We can. Yeah, you should be getting this one.
seems
so
valid.
We should ask the series thing.
Sure.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it part of a series?
No.
So it's a one-off.
I also it's worth noting that I didn't get a PS3 actually until a couple years after launch. So there's a blackout. There's kind of a black spot there for me.
In reach.
I bought 9 at launch by signing up for. Remember, because that console was,
It was so
deadly
expensive.
I mean,
That's why I didn't get it,
$599
yeah.
US dollars. That
I
was the
couldn't do it.
meme. But if you signed up for a Sony credit card,
What
you
other
got
games did
you
that
got like $200 off.
Flower Journey make? What were the other ones?
That
Flow.
game company, but they only did Flow. That was their first game.
That wouldn't be it. You play an amoeba.
And it was also a
And we
retail
don't think
game.
it's. I mean, it could still be Journey.
Oh, Eco?
No, that's
PS2.
Yeah, it's PS2.
Well, I mean, then the other one.
Shadow Colossus
That's
is
PS2
also
also.
PS2.
But
Yeah.
that might
It
be
took
after
the entire
2000.
development.
Nobody said PS3.
We've already established PS3.
Damn, I thought I had it there.
This is a real.
I mean, it's got to be something graphically interesting. We can ask more about graphics because if it's cell shaded or something, that would throw off the 3D question.
sure. I feel like
Or if it has a mix of display.
Remember that Ubisoft game Red 13, the cell shading?
Yes, that did so unfortunately
I
poorly.
think it's just called 13.
13.
Roman
Yeah, the
numeral.
shooter.
Red 13's
Yes, Red 13 is the guy from Final Fantasy. Well, believe me, you weren't the
All
only
right.
person
What
making a
about
mistake back then.
Kojima games from that time?
I
Yeah,
mean,
that was our Konami games.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't have been Sony first party.
The first party Sony thing's really tripping me up and making me think, because it's like Siphon Filter, like all these games that were not made in Japan.
4 questions left.
Should we go just a little bit more genre in? It's not an RPG. Is there any wider?
Could still be
angle
Gran
of that?
Turismo.
Plays a human.
I mean, sort of. There's actually nobody in the driver's seat in those old games, but you presume it's not some cheetah behind the wheel.
you earn credit. Also, you earn credits to buy cars in that game.
He didn't know the answer to it, so
Aye.
you can't take that into account.
Damon wasn't positive.
That's true.
I've never played Gran Turismo.
He was also unclear, or at least like about 3D. There's nothing unclear about that.
What about, does it take place in the present or past?
That's
Yeah.
the one that's really.
Does this take place in like modern day, like
Present?
Earth?
No.
Well, all right. Then. What was it? It was like Dark Cloud, a first party RPG. I'm
What's-
thinking for some reason I'm fixated on PS2 era.
What's like the Japanese?
But
What
it's
was
that-
the big enemy crabs and stuff they announced for PS3?
Genji?
Yeah. No, that's not. That's definitely not it.
What are like historical older games that came out?
But we still don't know that it's on Earth. We just know it's not contemporary. So that's
Or
actually,
future.
I like that question because that knocks out any of the weird sports random stuff that we were thinking about.
How many?
And we asked
How
if
many
it
do
was
we
a
have
series.
left?
You have 3 questions
Should we
left.
ask if it's in the
3.
future?
We asked if it was a series, right?
Because then we know if it's in the past or not.
It's a one off. Yeah. Well, you sure? Yeah. Okay.
Is this set in the future?
I can't answer that question.
Oh, nice. Okay. What about Ratchet and Clank
Shooting.
shooting?
Hey,
And you're not a human.
what about the one that a lot of people say that Horizon Zero Dawn looks like it, and you have the 2 people and
Yeah, that's called Enslaved.
Enslaved
But
was
that-
way too late, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it wasn't Sony. It was on other platforms.
Oh yeah, duh. I
Yeah.
played that game on Xbox.
Mhm.
It was Enslaved.
It was good. It was good. That's the
Yeah,
answer.
no PS2. I was gonna say Primal.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It was but it was a 3D action adventure that was I believe a Sony exclusive, but it was and published by Sony, but it was on PS2.
No, doesn't sound like it.
Yeah,
I give up.
it was on
3
PS2.
questions to go. Our panel is having a hard time this week.
Was this well received? Like high scored game?
Yes.
Parappa the Rapper or
This didn't come out
that's
for
PS1.
PS3 era.
but like one of those. I'm trying to think
Music
about.
games.
And then Jammer Lammy was PS2.
Well, I keep we're
Like, what are
stuck
your
on
favorite
we
PS3 games?
I mean, it's too late now because we're out of questions. But I'm sure it's like a puzzle game or some quirky like Guitar Man, like some genre bend.
No, it's a good thought line.
Because that was
God, I love
PS3
Guitar
though.
Sony did a lot of weird stuff like that.
You have one more question, then you got to guess.
Is this
I can't believe it's come to this.
like a quirky, strange, unusual genre game?
Yes.
We get to ask that question.
Guys,
Could it be?
That's it. That's 19. You got to make it. You got to make a guess.
Could it?
You know,
No,
it
but
is
you
a
play as
quirky, strange
but you play as a human.
genre game for the PlayStation 3 that was an exclusive.
I was gonna say, is it Tokyo?
That it is unclear when
I was
when
thinking
it takes
Tokyo
place,
Sunset,
but
but,
not
like, you're
modern
not-
times.
Is
Is it the last
what's
guy?
that? No, it's no.
that didn't get a retail release.
Yeah.
Maybe it did. We just don't know about it.
Man, what was that Tokyo game with the corgis?
Yeah, that's
the animal one.
That's what I was just saying.
That was-
but you're not.
Or what about just straight up Fat Princess? Did we
that
sort
didn't get
that
a
out?
retail release either.
It might have.
Yeah, but I doubt it. I doubt it.
But it's unclear what time period he didn't.
I'm trying
be
to
in the
think
future,
about
I guess.
games that were coming out right before I worked here because I started working here in 2011, and so like that Tokyo the pet game is too late.
It's also you're not a human.
Yeah, there's also that.
There's that.
Oh, it's a quirky weird game, guys.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird Sony games that they make.
Was
so many
Fat
of.
Princess made in Japan?
I don't know. I don't remember who the
Do you know,
developer
Vince?
is.
Are we
No,
ready?
I
Are we
wasn't.
ready to reveal? Is this going in the lost column?
No, we're so close. We just needed to shoot into somebody's head. I'm sure I played.
Have we
most-
said the name of the game yet? Can we use that question?
It's a quirky. It's and it got a retail release, so it's not it's not The Last Guy or one of those, but another game like that was strange. Remember Elefunk on PSN? I played Elefunk.
Something that Greg Miller would have liked.
Yeah.
That's why I was gonna say Patapon before, but it didn't come to PS3.
Loco Roco, but that was handheld.
Right. Yeah. Both of them.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, I
dun,
get
dun.
All right, I guess it's too long of a segment.
All
I don't
right.
have anything. I'm sorry, guys. I
You're
failed you.
spent. All right, I will now reveal the answer from Ricardo L.
Our
Released
great shame.
in 2007, developed and published by Sony, single and multiplayer modes, designed to sell the PlayStation Eye camera,
No, my
Clever.
God.
Eye of Judgment, the card game,
I had
Oh my God.
the augmented reality card battler game.
Well, that's how you stump us, folks.
I was not
Thanks
anywhere.
thanks for listening.
This is not a joke. I was just looking at and thinking about Eye of Judgment last night because
What?
No, because
What's wrong with you?
because
you
I-
wouldn't have been able to get there. with this.
we were talking about this before we started recording. I pre-ordered a Switch and I'm looking for stuff to trade in. I have a whole closet full of games.
Can't believe it.
And so I
Judgment.
What a
I
deep cut, my
drug out these boxes of old games and consoles, and sitting on top of one of them was my deck of Eye of Judgment cards. And I'm like, holy crap.
Jesus.
Do you play with a controller? Maybe we can start asking that.
Well, we could have.
That's why you asked if you play as a human. And I think you're just supposed to be a human.
If we would
playing
have,
the
if we would have
cards.
landed on the quirky thing, 3 questions before, we would have been like, is it a
Yeah.
music game? Does it use some weird peripheral? Like we would have
yeah,
got
maybe
there.
you would have gotten there. Yeah,
I think what tripped me up is that yeah. I mean, not that it was a misleading answer, but like saying when we asked, "Do you play as a human?" You confidently said yes. I was like, I'm thinking of human avatars, and immediately
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
What's
human
up with the
characters,
3D
characters,
thing?
characters. There is no character. in
Well,
that.
it's like weird. It's like an augmented reality game. Like, I think it's 3D, but it's weird, right?
Yeah, it's
not,
pretty unclear.
yeah.
Dude, that
not-
that game was bad. It didn't work.
What? No, that game got good reviews.
I set it up in my living room and the fucking thing didn't work. I shut the shade and then I'm like adjusting a light on my table.
I checked the reviews before we came in here, and it has good reviews.
It's like the most. I didn't work at IGN yet. I was in the industry, but I was buying a lot more of my games myself, and I've like almost never felt more burned in my life
Like-
than when I set it up and I knew.
You could give me the first 2 words of that game, and I wouldn't be able to name it.
No,
so that
the
was
Eye
just
of-
I don't know.
I'm
what
like,
that game
I'm never
is.
gonna play this again. I set it up
completely
one
ignored it.
evening, and I'm like, this is it.
well, like you and I are like card game fans
Yeah.
too, so that must have been.
and as am I, and but now we know, guys. Now we know. In the future, we have to ask: is it an augmented reality game? So that
Right.
so that if someone
Burn
picks
that one.
Invisimals, we'll be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Face Raiders for the 3DS.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been a hard one.
Thank you for the suggestion, Ricardo L.
No,
I believe
no.
you guys.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I believe you guys are 2 for 3 in 2017. So
Shame on you, Ricardo. Shame
too
on
bad.
you.
If you have your own 20 questions, suggestions, email them to me at gamescoop@ign.com. And I think that's all the scoops we have for you this week. So thank you, Justin. Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
My name is Damon. This is IGN Gamescoop, and we're out.